What's going on, y'all? This is your host, Brother Ben Ra. What's happening? Today, we're going to talk about Chris Brown. We're going to talk about Chris Brown and his release out of jail and, some of these rape allegations and the fact that he was released from jail, not accused of rape anymore. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a look into that, see what's happening with that. My people. Say, my people. Let's go. Current discussions. Thank you for listening. Let's go. What's going on, y'all? This is your host, Brother Ben Ra at Current Discussions. Thank you for tuning in today. And just know that if you want to get in touch with me, you can get me at truevisionradio@yahoo.com. That is truevisionradio@yahoo.com. And when you spell true, that is TRU. TRU. True Vision Radio. It is the All-Star Weekend here in the Charlotte area. I hope everybody is doing great. There's just people everywhere. I know my son, shout out to Jamir, he went out to a place called South Park Mall to go see some of the basketball players and stuff that was over there. I think one of them he mentioned was Kemba Walker. So, it's a lot to do during the during the All-Star Weekend. Just be careful out there. Be safe. There's a lot of crazy people driving these cars. A lot of people who are intoxicated. A lot of people who are just young and crazy and they showing off because they in a car and they're driving very, very recklessly. So just be careful out there. I'm not trying to blast all the younger heads. I'm just saying there are some out there who are wilding, and I've seen it for myself. So just be careful out there. Everybody, be careful. Today, we're going to talk about, we're going to get into Chris Brown, man. As you know, Chris Brown was arrested and he was accused of raping somebody out in Paris. And now, based on the investigation, we find out that, somebody's lying, okay, which is the accuser. So he has been released, and we're going to talk about that, man. We're going to dabble in that a little bit. Shout out goes to everybody who is working, trying to get something going, even for those who are not working. You in the struggle, shout out to you. You know what I mean? You'll get something. You'll get a job. You'll get something happening. You're not down for long. You know what I mean? We'll be right back. We'll get into this Chris Brown thing. Yes, y'all. This is your host, Brother Ben Ra, here at Current Discussions. And we're going to talk about the situation with Chris Brown, man. This is real interesting how a quick turn of events took place with this case. All right, we're going to talk about this here, the whole Chris Brown situation. I kind of felt a certain kind of way when I read about this, It's real interesting. All right. Let's just get into it just a tad bit. Update. French prosecution released Chris Brown from custody Tuesday and told the singer he's free to leave the country, while also saying they will continue to investigate a model's allegation that the singer raped her in a Paris hotel last week. The investigations, which are not closed at this stage, will continue under the authority of the Paris prosecutor's office. A spokesperson for the prosecutor's office told TMZ. Says Brown, 29, and two members of his team, who also were arrested in connection with the rape allegation, have been released on their own recognizance. Soon after his release, Brown took to Instagram to slam his accuser, calling the 24-year-old woman a liar for accusing him of raping in January, which is January 16th, I believe it was, at the Mandarin Hotel in Paris. And he says, I want to make it perfectly clear. This is false and a whole lot of crap. Never. For my daughter and my family, this is so disrespectful, and it is against my character and morals. Now, I just want to say this. I just want to say this real quick. I know Chris Brown has had a certain type of track record, that they try to pick certain things, because when you read this article, it talks about this case, but then it just kind of throws it under the bus and it starts going into what happened with him and Rihanna. Then it starts going into, what happened with him and, some other, cases that he's had in his past. Right. Basically the media, I'm looking at what the media does here. The media just doesn't want you to be not guilty, especially when it comes to you being a black man. You have to be guilty. You have to be. They can't stick with the subject matter that's at hand, which is the current allegations. They got to go back into what you did in 2009 or in, 1980, when that doesn't even, that has nothing to do with the right now. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I really don't like that about the media, especially when it comes to us. And then as black people, we actually start following right behind the media and how they report, the whole style. OK, and this article was by Martha Ross. OK, the Bay Area News Group. It was published January 22nd, 2019. And this is called the Mercury News. And it gave a little bit of a description of what happened at the hotel there in Paris. Basically, they went from the Crystal Club. They returned with him and his entourage to the hotel about 4 a.m. January 16th. The woman, who goes by the pseudonym Karima, in the closer interview, alleged that Brown followed her when she went to the bathroom and forced her into a dressing room, TMZ reported. For about 25 to 30 minutes, she said Brown assaulted her and described the alleged rape as brutal and violent. Karima also alleged that she was abused by one of Brown's friends and a bodyguard. Okay. Karima told the closer She initially was afraid to report the alleged assault, but went to the police 2 days later, not wanting Brown to be able to do something, negative to her or to any other girls. But a source close to Brown told TMZ that the singer was never alone with Karima in the hotel, adding that Harris and about 20 others were in his room hanging out and listening to music. Now, the 29-year-old singer was arrested by French police and booked on suspicion, aggravated rape, and this is Chris Brown. He was arrested and booked on suspicion of aggravated rape and a narcotics offense. And it says as of 5 p.m. PST Tuesday, which is Paris time, he was being processed, which TMZ said is likely the French version of being arrested and booked. Investigators have 2 days to decide whether to file preliminary charges against Brown or let him go. Right? Basically, the bottom line is they wound up letting him go. This interview was published, sometime in January or whatever, this article. But they wound up letting Chris Brown go. Okay, him and the person that was in his entourage. They wound up letting him go. And right now, she's being investigated, and Chris Brown is wanting to put her up on charges as well. Have her arrested and put in jail for lying. And one of the things I talk about a lot is the fact that, especially nowadays, for the past 10, 20 years, I would say maybe the past 10 years, maybe 11 years, there's been a lot of this, he raped me, molested me. All these women just coming forth saying these different things about people. Now, let me just make this clear. No one is saying that all women are lying about rape or being molested or whatever the case. We're not saying all women are lying, but we're saying there are women out there who do lie. And when they lie, what happens to them? Do they go to jail? There are women out there who lie. Now, for those women who are listening to this and you're just so much of a feminist that, this aggravates you, then you don't have to listen to this. OK, but for those who know the truth, that women lie, too. We know men do some bad things sometimes, but we also know women lie about rape as well. And that is never really talked about at all. I was listening to an interview on NPR, and there was a lady who she basically stated that if you don't believe a woman when she says that she's been raped, then you're a part of the problem, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You should, in other words, you should believe a woman when she says she's been raped or anything like that. Now, I said to myself, well, dang, if we were to just believe every woman who makes an accusation, then, you'll be putting a lot of people in a situation. Those people could be, innocent, but because you are a woman and you feel like, hey, I could just make this accusation, you are supposed to believe me, and you need to put that man in jail. There's something wrong with that, because as we can see here, everybody is not telling the truth. People lie, and people meaning men and women. They lie about things. They lie about things that did not happen. But just for the sake of trying to throw you under the bus, they will tell a lie. Right? I mean, those are just facts. I'm just speaking the truth, man. I'm not sitting up here. I have nothing to prove. I'm not sitting up here trying to get, nobody to, I'm just telling the facts, man. It is what it is. People lie about shit. They don't just lie about stuff like this. They lie about all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you have to do, I believe you have to do a thorough investigation before you could turn around and say somebody is innocent or guilty. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're making serious charges like rape charges or, molestation or sexual assault, or, if you say somebody robbed you or, anything like that. You have to really investigate, because you never know if somebody could be telling a lie, and then you wind up arresting and prosecuting an innocent man or woman. They say that you're innocent until proven guilty. This is according to the American justice system. You're innocent until proven guilty. But is that really true? Are you innocent until proven guilty? I really don't believe you're innocent until proven guilty. I believe you are guilty until you can prove your own innocence, because there's no way that somebody could just say something and the police are at your door putting you in handcuffs and throwing you in jail. I mean, that's absolutely crazy to me how that can happen. Right? Shout out to those innocent men and women who've been lied on, had their reputations ruined by a bunch of liars, and they had to try to get their lives back on track because of that, man. Shout out to y'all, man. For real. This is it's crazy, man. I mean, what's going on these days is really wild, because it's just amazing how people can just, make accusations and it goes all over the media. And all of a sudden now you just become this criminal. And you don't know if somebody's lying or if they telling the truth. Okay, when we come back, man, we're going to talk about some of the causes of maybe false accusations of rape or molestation or sexual abuse or anything of that nature. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about that, man. Just briefly. And remember, this show is just a part one. All right. This is part one. I'm going to have a part two, and we're going to have some guests that's going to come on air. All right. Okay. We'll be right back. What's going on, y'all? This is Brother Ben Rob, man. I'm back, and we're just going to just dabble in a little bit of, some of the causes, why some people may make false allegations of rape and things of that nature. Now, I got this from Wikipedia. Now, we're going to just get right into it. Causes of false accusations of rape may fall into two categories: false memories, which is accidental self-deception. This is what they call it, or just outright lies, right? Attempted deliberate deception of others, right? Meaning you are deliberately telling these lies and trying to deceive people. Okay. And they get into the reasons why also. Now, it says false memories. There are a number of ways in which an alleged victim can accidentally come to believe that they have been raped by the person or persons they accuse. These include, but are not limited to, 1. Recovered memory therapy. What is recovered memory therapy? Memories of sexual abuse recovered during therapy in the absence of any supporting evidence based on the Freudian notion of repression, right? Which is pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. Now, we're going to get into that. The victim, this is number 2, the victim or the victim's confusion of the memory of the real rapist with the memory of someone else's. All right. These are what they call false memories. Right. Number 3, memory conformity. Memory can become contaminated when co-witnesses discuss their recall of events. OK, so basically this is saying basically the cause of these false accusations could be what they call false memories. There are a number of ways in which an alleged victim can accidentally come to believe that they have been raped by the person or persons they accuse. And they're saying recovered memory therapy, which is memories of a sexual abuse recovered during therapy in the abuse of any supporting evidence, right? Based on the Freudian, I believe that's the name, Freudian notion of repression, right? The victim's confusion of the memory of the real rapist with the memory of someone else. So meaning that they can confuse the real person, the real rapist, with someone else, their husband, their boyfriend, or date, somebody they're currently dating. Also, memory conformity. Their memory can be contaminated when co-witnesses discuss their recall of events. Okay. Now we're going to go into lies, just outright lies, because some of y'all are just outright liars. Okay. Blatant lies. You're lying on men, throwing them in jail, or, messing up their reputations simply because he didn't pay for your Uber to get home. Or if he did pay for your Uber to get home, he didn't walk you downstairs romantically. He just, treated you like what I mean? I don't want to say it. But he didn't treat you right. So because he didn't treat you right, okay, I'm going to just yell out rape. That's not cool. There are a number of motivations let's go back. There are a number of motivations an accuser may have to falsely claim they have been raped. There is disagreement into how many different categories these may be put, right? So they go into it, basically. First, material gain, right? To receive money, professional promotion, or other material benefits. Okay. So you may receive some money if you tell a lie that this person has done something to you, especially if this person, got a lot of paper, like a Chris Brown. Or if somebody's not a Chris Brown, right? If they just got money, you feel like, okay, if I go say that this person did this to me, I can get this paper. Right? Or professional promotion. If it's a professional setting, like a corporate situation, you do something to try to get to the top, or you do something to try to get to the next level, then you want to turn around and say that the person raped you when you were a willing participant. Right? Producing an alibi. A false allegation is used to cover up other behavior, such as being late, or absent to an appointment, right? So basically producing an alibi, right? And you create a false allegation, right? Just to try to cover up. Revenge, to retaliate against a disliked person by damaging the reputation, freedom, or finances. Then we just talk about something like that. We just talked about that. Let's read that again. Revenge, to retaliate against a disliked person. You might not even like the person. I mean, you don't like the person. That's why you're doing what you're doing. So in order to get back at that person, you go ahead and cry rape. Or you cry, sexual abuse, molestation, whatever the case may be. Listen, there's people out here, I'm telling you, they are wilding. And, you got to be very careful, especially if you're a celebrity. If you're a celebrity, you definitely got to be careful, because these people out here are trying to ruin other people, and that's not right. Especially, I'm watching this focus on how the black male is being criminalized, demonized. And that is not cool at all. And it's very consistent, and it's just blatant. It's just out there. To get attention, an attempt to receive any kind of attention, positive or negative, by anyone. So you say these things, these lies, just to get attention. So you out here trying to ruin somebody's life just for the sake of getting attention? And you don't care even if you ruin that person's rep or anything of that nature. You just don't care. You just want that attention. Sometimes it could be a combination of revenge and attention and sympathy, all three together. And it's all grounded in attention, trying to gain attention. Right? So we're going to go into sympathy. A special kind of attention seeking whereby the complainant tries to improve a personal relationship with a specific individual. Right? Now, I mean, that could be the case too, but I think it's more of a thing where you want sympathy, right? You want everybody to start feeling bad for you. So you make up a story just for the sake of getting attention. And part of that sympathy is a large amount of it is attention. Attention, want everybody to feel bad for you. Oh, this, that, and the third. When really you sitting up here lying out of your ass. All right. That's just plain and simple. A disturbed mental state. This may include false memories, sexual hallucinations, or just plain old pathological lying. Reading this list is very, very serious business, because this is what we need to understand. We need to understand that. Now, again, hold on. Again, we're not saying, for those hardcore people out there, we're not saying that women don't get raped. We're not saying women don't get molested. We're not saying that. That does happen to people. We're not saying that doesn't happen. And for those that has happened to, we know that ain't right. Let's just get that clear. I want you sending me emails talking about you're this, you're that. I mean, because that sounds stupid if I'm telling you that we understand that and we know that. We know that ain't right. But what we also know that there is another side to the spectrum, which means that there are people out there who lie about this kind of stuff. Right? They lie for material gain. They lie for revenge. They lie for attention. They lie for sympathy. They have a disturbed mental state. This may include false memories, sexual hallucinations, or pathological lying. I mean, let's just keep it real. This is why I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing it because when I read this thing about Chris Brown, I was like, dag, man, this is crazy how the media is really not even covering this like the way they should here in the States. Now, if he was like totally guilty, it was just no doubt about it, they'll be dragging him through the mud. You know what I'm saying? But of course, there's some issues with this situation. And it's coming out that somebody lied. That the accuser lied about what happened. Now, before we found out that the accuser actually lied, people was throwing Chris Brown under the bus. You should have seen all of the accusations, or you should have seen all of the comments that people were making about this brother. Mostly black people sitting up there talking all kinds of crap about Chris Brown. Now, when you find out that this chick is lying, and that they're finding out that a lot of the stuff that she's saying is false, how come those people don't offer him an apology for saying some of the crap that they've said about him? This man got a daughter, man. He got a family. When I do this part 2, we're going to have some special guests. I'm going to have I'm going to have a panel. We're going to come in. We're going to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go over this case. We're going to talk about it. I waited for a while to see if anybody was at least going to, try to apologize to the brother, at least just to say, hey, they said the police apologized to him, supposedly. The police apologized and, tell you, boy, we living in some bad times, man. We living in some times where, if you're a celebrity, you got to watch your back, man. Or if you just one of those type of people that, you dealing with certain types of people, you gotta watch your back, man, because you got people who really do not have your best interest at heart. Gotta go. Yeah. All right. This is Brother Ben Ra. I'm gonna see you on the part 2. Remember, if you want to get in touch with me at truevisionradio@yahoo.com. That is truevisionradio@yahoo.com. truevisionradio@yahoo.com. This is the Current Discussions podcast. Thank you for listening, and I will see you later on. I appreciate you.